Hey folks, so I just finished the what would be called the first two adventures. Adventure 1 was on the overland using these types of tiles, and Adventure 2 is using these this like tactical board, if you will. I'm sure they have an actual term for it, but it's eluding me at the time. So sometimes I like to make what I call a part 0, but it is really going to be a part 1.5, and that's what this video is. I'm going to be inserting it in between video 1 and video 2. I had a couple of rules mistakes that I made, and I just want to talk about it through camera because I caught a lot of them late. And so as you're watching, I don't want you to be led astray if you end up not finishing the whole playthrough. Or the other thing is I want to spare you from having to write in the comments. Because I do have it in the description of my part 1 video, but some people, miss it. I don't pay attention to the description language. So I have 3 things that I want to bring up. One of them was just a boneheaded thing that I did. It wasn't a rules thing, but as you can see here, there's a lot of miniatures on the board, a lot of bad guys, and some of them have like these banners. So for example, this is one bad guy group, and this is actually another bad guy group that's separate, etc. So what was happening at the end of Adventure 2 is I was attacking this guy here. He was the boss, okay? And he has this banner that looks like a little flame. Or I know it's not a flame, but it just looks like one. Well, what I was accidentally doing is in the app, I was clicking on this banner guy with the fist. And this guy, by the way, was super tough. I mean, he had like all this armor. So what ended up happening was I was getting frustrated because I wasn't killing that guy with the fist, and time was running out, and I was getting desperate. And then I realized that all the damage I did to the guy in the fist was supposed to be going to this boss. So what you're going to see me do is I'm just going to click on the boss, and then I just applied all my damage, and then I won the mission. It's going to look like cheating. It's going to look weird, and you might be like, what's going on? I just wanted to explain at the end of Adventure 2, which I think was like video 7 of this series, maybe 8, you're going to see that happen. It was just, I was clicking on the wrong guy in the app. It was just a simple human mistake. But now for the 2 rule errors. There's 2 of them. Somebody mentioned, so for example, Legolas is a perfect example. When he gets his skill deck, so when you're starting a adventure, you got to take that skill with the stars on it, and it goes into his prepared section. So I'm just trying to find it. Here it is, resourceful. Okay, so resourceful. See, it has little stars. It's going to start in already prepared. Okay, so it says after you prepare the skill, gain 1 inspiration. Since you start the adventure already prepared, I skipped that. I assumed you don't get that until you actually play the card. People are instructing me that you do get that. So when you start the adventure, you can count it as if you prepared the skill. So Legolas would always start an adventure with 1 inspiration, which is actually quite powerful. And so I actually think I like that. I'm very happy to have learned that, but I didn't do it the entire Adventure 1 or Adventure 2, because when you go from one adventure to the other, you're going to reset your deck and start over, basically, as if it was just like Adventure 1. You may get new skills added to your deck, but in terms of your adventures, you're resetting it. So anyways, long story short, I don't do it in my video, but just understand that when you are doing your setup for an adventure, it is considered the actual act of preparing. Even though this is supposed to start already prepared, you still get to do the text. I hope that makes sense, but you'll see that I missed that for the entire first 2 adventures, and then from here on out, I will fix that if I do more. Okay, so the other one is the biggest error of all. I don't catch it until video 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. It's very deep into Adventure 1 before I finally catch it. The app itself has, so when you, for example, this, your weapon has two different rows. This row has pierce and that row doesn't. I assumed that I had to do each row separately. So I would put in 3 hits with pierce and then hit apply. And then I ignored the enemy counterattack, and then I'd come back and put in the 2 hits as a separate attack, okay? You don't do that. It's if I have 3 successes and I can do both rows, I get to apply pierce and then put 5 hits with the pierce. It's actually quite awesome. So I was actually making life very much harder for me than the game rules allow. I did catch it, but like I said, I did it wrong the first few times, and people were already commenting on it, even though I have it littered throughout my comments in several places. So I just wanted to do this real quick and explain that. So if I satisfy the criteria for both of these rows, I would actually get a pierce effect, and I get to do 5 hits along with that pierce, whereas my original understanding was I had to do each row separately. Okay, so it's very simple. That this rule clarification actually makes the mission easier than I was doing. So I'm very happy with that. In fact, this makes it easier than I was actually playing in hard mode, I guess. But that's it. I don't think there was anything else. Like, some people are pointing out how I forgot to use a skill here and there. Of course, I'm solitarying 5 characters, and that's the pitfall of doing that, is that you're not going to remember that, oh, so-and-so has this skill, and I can use it right in this situation. That happens. I'm not concerned about that too much. That's just me being forgetful. So anyways, from a rules perspective, that's what I got, and I hope you enjoyed the series. I can tell you that this game is on the fence for me. There's things I like about it. There's things I don't like about it. I wish there was more interaction between the characters. I wish the characters didn't just go off in different directions. I wish they stuck together as a party more. It's things like that that are bothering me, not the actual... I mean, the gameplay itself is very Gloomhaven-ish. And there's some pieces of that I'm not very happy about, but I'm not saying I dislike the game. I guess a review is more appropriate at the end, but anyways, determine it for yourself, and I hope this playthrough will help you to do that. And yes, I got feedback that my iPad is filled with fingerprints and when the light's shining on it the way it does, and so my apologies there. I'll try to clean that better, and I think maybe I'll lay it flat or something so it doesn't have as much glare. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, stay awesome.